All right, Brant, here we are, week 5, live football again to start the morning off. NFL's treating us right, back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, yep. Good opening game here with the Giants and the Packers on. Good background noise there. So yeah, it's week 5. Week 5 is going to be a fun one to watch this week.
Absolutely. Lots of good games on the slate today. Lots of intriguing things going on with a couple rookie quarterbacks getting their first starts this week. One who was the first quarterback drafted in the NFL draft, and one who was probably the last. And Bailey Zappi starting for the New England Patriots, and Kenny Pickett starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Not the last. You got to remember Mr. Relevant from Iowa State there.
That's right. You're right. What's that? Brock Purdy. Is that right?
Yeah, Purdy. That's it. I could not come up with the last name on that one.
So, Brant, you and I were both talking prior to starting the live here, and one guy that I think is just absolutely going to come back this week, set the world on fire, and have an extremely fantasy relevant week this week is Mr. James Robinson out of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're playing the Houston Texans. I think a lot of people were disappointed in what James Robinson did last week against the Chargers, but that was a fairly negative game script for the Jaguars. You did expect to see more ETN in those kind of situations. So this week I looked for a big bounce back from James Robinson.
Yeah, I definitely could see that happening this week. Excuse me. The game script was not good there in against Philly last week for them. So yeah, I look for both those running backs this week actually to really come out of their shell that they were in last week and really have good weeks this week against Houston.
Absolutely.
One of the names that really stick out to me is Dalvin Cook this week against the Bears. He's always had really good games against the Bears. I look for him to get back on track this week. And honestly, if he does not get back on track against the Bears where he's had so much success, it might be time to hit the panic button on Dalvin Cook, unfortunately.
Yeah, last week, Alexander Madison getting that 15-yard screen touchdown over there in London really kind of took away from, Dalvin Cook's day. Dalvin Cook wasn't bad last week. Just hasn't really found the end zone this year, and the numbers haven't been, exceptional. But really, this has been a downtrodden year for all running backs. It's just an odd year for running backs in the fantasy realm.
Absolutely. Another two names that might be if you're in need of tight end help. Another two names that could possibly help you is Taysom Hill and Adam Troutman there for New Orleans. Seattle is the worst against tight ends this year, giving up ample amount of points against all the tight ends. I'm trying to pull it up real fast, but my screen doesn't want to move. They're averaging 20.7 points per game against the tight end. So those two names right there could be names that could be out on your waivers if you're in desperate need of help with the tight ends.
Absolutely. I do, in that same game, I do look for Alvin Kamara to have a pretty good bounce back this week. Pass catching backs seem to do pretty well against Seattle. Obviously Andy Dalton's starting this week, not Jameis Winston. So that also bodes well for Alvin Kamara and his value for this week.
Yeah, and that would also possibly help out Taysom Hill possibly getting some run in the quarterback area also.
Absolutely. So, Brant, while we're waiting for some of these questions to start rolling in, what's your noon slate looking like today?
Noon slate's obviously my Seahawks are on, so I'll be glued to that one pretty closely. The other one I'll be paying attention to, I'm going to try to veer away from saying anything Philadelphia today.
It's got to be hard for you to get out of your mouth, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, the other one I'm really going to be looking forward to is the Steelers and Bills. I'd like to see what Kenny Pickett offers to those pass catchers. I'd like to see that offense and see how it opens up.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. I want to see Bailey Zappi too. I was really excited about Bailey Zappi in college. Be really excited to see what he does with a Bill Belichick offense. So definitely going to be paying attention to that one. Obviously, the Falcons game will be on. But all right, Corbin, what's up, buddy? Welcome back. Corbin says Curtis Samuel, Gabe Davis, or Deontay Johnson for my flex half-point PPR. So you got Curtis Samuel there against Tennessee at home. Gabe Davis. Where's the Buffalo matchup at here?
Buffalo's got Pittsburgh.
Buffalo's at home, and then you got Deontay Johnson in that same game with Kenny Pickett. I'm probably going Gabe Davis here. Obviously, I want to go Deontay Johnson, but I need to see a couple weeks of Kenny Pickett and who his guy is going to be. Obviously, last week we saw that look like it was going to be George Pickens, but I'd like to see another week of that, really. Curtis Samuel's been really good when Washington's been able to move the ball, but I just don't. I'm never going to trust Carson Wentz. It's just not going to happen for me, I don't think. So I'd probably go Gabe Davis in this one.
Yeah, I'm leaning Gabe Davis also. I'm avoiding most pass catchers this week there in Pittsburgh, to the fact that I do want to see what it looks like with Kenny Pickett. And Gabe Davis could easily be the number 2 target, with Isaiah McKenzie possibly missing this game, still in protocol also.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Zach. Zachary asking Hunter Renfrow or Corey Davis. So we got Hunter Renfrow's got the Chiefs
Monday night.
Yeah, and Davis has the Dolphins. They're at home. I think I'm going to lean Renfrow. Renfrow coming back. They're going to have to put points up to hang out with Patrick Mahomes and the boys there in Kansas City. So yeah, I think I like Renfrow. I think most of the secondary will be focused on Devontae Adams, so I think that's going to leave Renfrow open up for a lot of extra yak yards.
Yeah, I probably go Hunter Renfrow as well. The fact that it's non-PPR makes it closer for me, because Corey Davis does have a knack for finding the end zone. Definitely looked good with Zach Wilson last week, but I just think that the game script there in Kansas City on Monday night is going to be where the Raiders have to pass frequently and often. So I'm leaning Hunter Renfrow as well. Jacksonville or Miami for defense. So you've got Jacksonville hosting the Houston Texans, or the Dolphins at Meadowlands hosting the traveling to play the Jets. I'm starting Miami everywhere I could find them this week. I kind of like the idea of Zach Wilson having a couple of turnovers this week. I think it probably takes a couple of weeks before he gets going fluidly. So I'm going Miami for my side of this.
I absolutely love this question, because in almost all my leagues, I went out looking for Jacksonville or Miami this week. Those are my 2 favorite waiver defenses this week. I would lean Miami. They have the better defense set up, but you can't go wrong with Jacksonville either against Houston. So either one's good, but yeah, I definitely would lean Miami. They'll probably get a few more turnovers.
Jonathan says, hate that I even have to ask this, but half-point PPR flex, Zeke or Penny? Go ahead, Walker.
I go Zeke here. Penny was he played the worst possible rush defense, second worst rush defense in the NFL, and blew up. Now Penny is getting the work, but it's been very minimal for him prior to last week. I still have to lean Zeke, and that's unfortunate for me to say, because I want Penny to be that guy in Seattle, but I have to lean Zeke. He's going to see more targets out of the backfield than Penny does. Penny's only seen very few targets the last few weeks.
Yeah, so for me, this one all boils down to the fact that both of these teams have tough matchups for run games this week. Zeke's got the Rams, and Penny's got the New Orleans Saints. So for me, it definitely does fall to the volume side of things, and I just think Zeke's going to have a little bit more volume this week than Penny. So I go Zeke as well.
Let's see. Sorry, not start or sit, but Treylon Burks to the IR. Should I add Nico Collins or Noah Brown? I already have the rookie Detroit wideout on the IR. Oh,
it's Nico Collins for me. I just Nico Collins out of Michigan a couple years ago was a guy that I was really clamoring for, and I don't think we've seen the best of Nico Collins yet. He's a guy that he can go up and high point the ball, make contested catches. He runs a pretty good route tree. I just don't think we've seen his full development yet. But I like Nico Collins in Houston a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nico also. I mean, he's seen 3 and 4 targets at least every game this week or this year. And with Gallup coming back, I think Noah Brown's takes a step back. So, yeah, I'm going to lean Nico also.
Eric did follow that question up just a couple seconds later while we're still on Eric and say that Hunter Renfrow is also available. I'm probably putting Hunter Renfrow above those guys just to have for rest of the season. If it's a dynasty league, I'm probably still going Hunter Renfrow, but just pick up Hunter Renfrow. That's
Renfrow would be my pickup over those other two.
Absolutely. Jennifer, good morning. I saw your comment a few ones back saying good morning. Appreciate that. Waller or Njoku in PPR. It's the Chargers week, and if we look back at recent years against the Chargers, David Njoku kind of snaps off. Basically does all of his past relevancy in that one game against the Chargers every year. I probably go Njoku, but you could see a healthy dose of Waller this week as well, again, trying to keep up that score with Kansas City. I just think Njoku probably has a big focal point of that offense in Cleveland this week.
Yeah, I'm really into Njoku also. I think he sees a lot more targets. There's really only Cooper and Njoku there. I know Peoples-Jones has had, his outbursts and everything. And Waller will be taking some of that focus. So and I see the Raiders having to spread that ball out if they're going to stay involved in this game. So I'm going to lean to Njoku this week. How much do we dislike Najee over the next 3 weeks? Tough matchups, terrible O-line, and a rookie QB. Recipe for disaster. Yes, that is definitely a recipe for disaster. Dislike, I don't know how much I do dislike him due to the fact that he will be seeing a lot of dump-offs, I would assume, with the pass rushes that they do have to face over the next few weeks. Comfortability, I'm not going to be comfortable putting him there, but I'm not a big, I don't dislike the fact that he's going to see the pass catching work there.
Yeah, I'm not too necessarily worried about Najee just yet. That offensive line is man, they're horrible. That's unfortunate too because Najee looked great last year. But again, he was on the field for every snap. There wasn't no Jalen Warren stealing snaps and touches and receptions. But I do think there'll be a few more dump offs for Najee. I think his floor should go up a little bit. I'm not sure where the ceiling's still at with Najee, but the floor should go up a little bit. I still think he's a comfortable flex play at this point. I don't necessarily love him as a running back 2 right now, but I think he gets back there at some point this season. Oh, Agent Joe coming in with a Thielen, Dameon Pierce, Robert Woods, or Romeo Doubs in the flex. Well, if Doubs is in the flex, he's locked in because they're on right now. I mean, Green Bay's already going against the Giants here. So assuming that didn't get in the lineup, I'm probably going Robert Woods just due to the fact that Treylon Burks is out. And, really Washington's kind of are not really a tough pass defense. I like Robert Woods. I put him in a lot of my lineups this week.
Yeah, I like Robert Woods also. He's going, like I said, going against Washington, who's given up the 3rd most points to wide receivers in the NFL. So, yeah, I'll take Robert Woods in that area.
Tony says need 2 of the 3 in PPR at running back, Dameon Pierce, Khalil Herbert, or Devin Singletary. So Brant, favorite thing to do with this one is let's take the obvious one out. I think you probably have to take Khalil Herbert out with the simple fact that David Montgomery's back this week. Granted, I think Khalil Herbert's looked good enough that he's going to still have a role. But Dameon Pierce and Devin Singletary have kind of locked up their backfields at this point. So I think I'm going with those 2 guys this week and kind of just letting Chicago show me what they've got, really.
Yeah, I'm holding both the same. Pierce and Singletary. Singletary's kind of slowly pulling away with that job. He's looked really good when he's seen the snaps and seen the targets. And Dameon Pierce has just been on fire lately, as of seeing touches and everything else. And he goes against who are they going against? They got Jacksonville this week. Yeah. So who's given up top 5 most points against running backs this week or in the NFL? Yeah, I'm going to go Pierce and Singletary there.
Frederick says Duvernay or Pickens at flex and half-point PPR.
Well, unfortunately, I'm leaning Duvernay just because I am avoiding Pittsburgh right now until I see what happens with Pickett. And with Bateman out, Duvernay slides into the number 2 role as a pass catcher there, still behind Mark Andrews. So, yeah, I'm going to have to slide Duvernay in there.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going Duvernay as well, just because there's no Bateman. And Pittsburgh does have a plethora of pass catchers that are all very decent with Claypool, Johnson, Pickens. You got the Muth there at tight end as well. I probably go Duvernay just to avoid being caught in the wayside of Kenny Pickett figuring his life out. Michael asks, would you trade ETN for Dobbins?
That's a tough one there. I own both of them in Dynasty. In a Dynasty league, I think I'm holding Dobbins. But in a redraft league, I almost want to hold ETN. He actually out-snapped Robinson last week. I know Game Script did, help with that. But ETN sees a lot of the pass catching role. Dobbins did most of his work in the first quarter, so I really don't see I don't know what his role is going to be going forward. So that's kind of a toss up there. They're both kind of in the same tier for me as of right now until that backfields get more figured out throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think for me, though, I probably lean that I would trade ETN for Dobbins just because I think Dobbins is more of the alpha in that backfield, I guess, if you will, obviously taking out Lamar Jackson. Whereas ETN, yes, the game script was much more in his favor last week, but there is still James Robinson there. And at the very best for ETN, that's probably going to be a 50-50 share. Whereas I don't think Gus Edwards isn't probably good enough to get it to a 50-50 share in Baltimore. So I probably would trade ETN for Dobbins, but it wouldn't be a move that I would be making because I think it's going to win me a championship by any stretch. I think Dobbins is probably a little safer than ETN, to put it in that light, I guess.
Let's see. Assuming everyone plays, need 2 at wide receiver, PPR, St. Brown, Gabe Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, Zay Jones. Tony would like to know. With me, I'm going with those first 2 names on there. St. Brown has done his thing when he does play. I'm hoping he plays also. So you and me are in the same boat here. But yeah, I'm going to go St. Brown and Gabe Davis. I think Isaiah McKenzie's leaning more towards not playing. I know you said assuming everyone plays, but I'm pretty sure McKenzie is not going to be playing. So I'm leaning St. Brown and Davis.
Yeah, I'm going with St. Brown as well. I think if he plays, he's definitely Jared Goff's guy. I don't necessarily expect the Detroit and New England score to look anything like the Detroit and Seattle score looked last week, but I definitely still think there's plenty of opportunity for some offensive fantasy relevancy there. But St. Brown's an obvious one for me if he plays, and then I'm actually going to go Zay Jones if Zay Jones plays. He's been very much the 1B to Christian Kirk's 1A, and every single week Trevor Lawrence definitely gets this guy involved. Zay Jones he's very safe in my opinion, whereas I think with Gabe Davis and Isaiah McKenzie, you could see either one of them take off this week. And I don't know what I'm getting out of Pittsburgh's offense. How many points is Josh Allen going to have to put on the board this week? I expect it to be more of a Devin Singletary game in Buffalo in the second half. So I'm going Amon-Ra St. Brown and Zay Jones here.
Okay. Mick asks, full point PPR, need 2 of the 3, Dalvin Cook, Jeff Wilson, Najee Harris. Let's just talk about how the fact that we actually have to discuss this because of the way the season has come down with running backs. Yeah. Really, those 2 of those 3 names should be easy start sits, but the way that the year is gone, you really have to look into it. So the Niners get the Panthers. You already know how I feel about Cook this week. So Cook's my obviously one in. I really think he gets it right this week against the Bears. And then
Najee's got the Bills.
Thank you. I apparently can't find that game on my list here. I think I still start Cook and Najee. I still think I have to start those two. Najee's going to be in for the pass catch down work, and like you just said, you think that they'll be playing from behind. So I expect a lot of dump offs for him this week, and I expect Cook to get back on track this week and find the end zone, if not once, maybe twice this week.
So that's Najee and Cook for you.
Yep.
Oh man, Bran, I hate to disagree with you here, but I almost want to say to sit Dalvin Cook because I know you think that breakout's coming, but I'm just not sure I see it yet. Jeff Wilson's not looked great, so for that reason, I'm probably still going to go with Cook and Najee as well. But I'm real low on the fence there with Dalvin. One more bad week of him, like you said, and it's full panic mode with Dalvin Cook. But we'll give him the benefit of the doubt this week again. Corey says, are we trusting Amon-Ra today? I need one wide receiver flex and two backs. Jacobs, Sanders, Stevenson, Amon-Ra, Thielen, and Samuel.
Oh, wow. So we need a receiver, a flex, and two backs here. Okay.
So let's start with the two backs first. I think the two backs that I'm starting are Miles Sanders without any doubt of any kind of question. And then I honestly like Josh Jacobs because it wouldn't shock me at all to see Las Vegas try to ground and pound that Kansas City team to keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline as often as they can. So I'm going to start those two at my running backs. And then Amon-Ra is going in the wide receiver spot as long as he plays. And then I think Adam Thielen has earned the right again to be set it and forget it in my mind. He's looked very good the last 2 weeks, so he's probably my flex. So I'm going Jacobs and Sanders at the backs, Amon-Ra St. Brown at the wide receiver spot, and Adam Thielen at the flex.
Okay, I have to disagree with you on a little bit of this. I'm going St. Brown and Thielen as my flex and my wideout. Jacobs is my my running back, and I'm going Stevenson as my other running back. He's going against the Detroit Lions, who just got torched by the Seattle by Rashad Penny last week. They give up the second most points to fantasy running backs. I could see Stevenson running this game over. I think they're going to lean on the ground game a lot. I know him and Harris both had 80+ yards last week against Green Bay. So with Zappy starting, I lean Stevenson to start this week.
Yeah, Stevenson. The only reason I'm shying away from that is a little bit because Damian Harris still exists. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I could. One of those New England backs are going to have a really good game this week.
All right, Jennifer, Curtis Samuel or Chris Godwin? Yeah, I got to go Godwin on this one. He's one of Brady's favorite targets. As long as he plays, I can't pull him out of any lineups.
Yeah, it's Godwin. The Falcons are giving up a ton of yards right now to slot wide receivers. It's Godwin all day for me on this one.
Tony down here added Tyler Boyd to that long list of where's it at of the two wide receivers. Yeah, I still say St. Brown and Isaiah.
Boyd's not Davis. Boyd's not changing that for me either. Got Jeremiah asking again, Raheem Mostert, Hunter Renfrow, or Josh Palmer?
Oh, the easy one out for me is Mostert. I still don't trust that backfield. And we all know his injuries there. Who do the Chargers have this week?
The Cleveland Browns.
Oof. Without Keenan Allen. Ooh, that's a tough one there. I think I'm going to stick with Renfrow there. I just think that's going to be a pass happy offense this week, and they're going to have to get all the pass catchers involved. So I think I'm going to lean Renfrow on that one.
Yeah, I think for me it really comes down to Palmer and Renfrow as well. Palmer's definitely looked like he's a guy that Herbert wants to have involved in the offense, but he is third string or third fiddle there on the best day behind, whether it's Allen or Mike Williams or Everett or Austin Eckler. He's never going to be above those guys, or at least not in the near future. Whereas Hunter Renfrow is guaranteed to probably be a top 2, if not the third option for sure. So I'd probably go Hunter Renfrow, but that one's a lot closer for me than it feels like I'm saying here.
Yeah. Hector asks, Herbert or ETN? I'm going to have to go ETN. We know what his workload's going to be. Hopefully this is PPR. But yeah, I'm leaning ETN on that with Montgomery coming back. I don't know what Herbert's role is going to be.
Yeah, I think I probably go ETN too. The Texans defense scares me a little less than the Vikings do. So I'm probably going to go ETN. I think ETN and Herbert will have similar roles but I think Herbert has more volume this week. I just don't think his volume equals as much as what ETN's will.
Michael asks, if St. Brown's out, do I start London, Johnson, or Samuel full point PPR? That's tough. I have to go London because the volume should be there in that game with them playing from behind against Tampa Bay. I know that's a tough matchup, but I don't know what the volume is going to be for Johnson with Pickett, and I still think I'd lean London.
Yeah, this is going to be an obvious answer for me. I don't know if anybody can tell by watching my screen here who I'm going to pick, but I'm going with the guy who's leading the league in target share, and that's Drake London. Drake London's going to get the ball thrown his way. I don't necessarily think this game is going to be high scoring. We haven't seen Tampa Bay put up a lot of points this season as they have in the past. But Atlanta's offense has actually been sneaky efficient, which is so weird to say with Marcus Mariota at the helm. But no Cordero Patterson means I think they're going to have to pass a little bit more in this game than they have in the past few weeks. But I think it's Drake London pretty unequivocally. I just think Drake London's in line for a big workload this week.
Addison down here says Bears going to give up 20+ points guaranteed to Cook and JJ. Guarantee. Addison, I really hope you're right. I need Cook to hit his bounce back. So I really hope you're right with that one. I know you're a Bears fan, so I'm going to trust you on this one too.
Yeah, I think the Bears probably give up a lot of points to Justin Jefferson because everybody does. But we'll see if Cook can get right this week. Michael says Khalil Herbert or Breece Hall.
Breece Hall. He's taken over that backfield. Michael Carter slowly falling down to, just slowly fading into the background. I'm going Breece Hall, especially with Wilson there. They're starting to put all the number ones on the field. So yeah, I'm going Breece Hall on this one.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like Breece Hall is starting to take that backfield over. Each week, his snap share goes up a little bit more. His touches go up a little bit more over Michael Carter. I do expect this to be a negative game script for the Jets. I don't think they keep it necessarily close with the Miami Dolphins. However, that being said, Breece Hall has had several weeks where he's had 8+ targets out of the backfield. So I go Breece Hall, especially if this is PPR. It's not particularly close for me if it's PPR. I think you definitely go Breece Hall here.
Ooh, Brian, 15-man league, pick 2 of the 4 to start. Petty, DJ Moore, Brian Robinson, and Josh Reynolds. Wow. Okay.
I'll go ahead and answer this one real quick, Brant, because I think this one's pretty easy for me. I'm going with Rashad Penny and DJ Moore. Brian Robinson, I think, is eventually going to be an absolute dog, but he's coming back so quick after that shooting that he was a victim of. I don't know how big of a role he's going to have in his first week back. I know in training camp and preseason, it definitely looked like he was the guy in Washington. I think the setback's going to hurt him a little bit, obviously, initially. And then, with Josh Reynolds, if Amon-Ra St. Brown plays, I don't expect Josh Reynolds to have much of a role at all today. So I'm going Rashad Penny and DJ Moore. And I know DJ Moore has been very
lackluster,
underwhelming. Lackluster works as well. But I'm still tipping the nod there because I think the volume is going to be there for sure for him.
Yeah, I lean those two as well, Penny and Moore. Unless it, like you said, if Brown's out, I think I put Reynolds above DJ Moore if Browns are out, or if St. Brown's out this week. So other than that, I'm leaning Penny and Moore though. Oh, ask a very important question here: nachos or wings today?
This is finally somebody's asking us where our bread and butter is.
Let's see.
So the answer is obvious, is it not, Brant? Both? Can we not just do both?
Yeah, we got to go both.
You got to have a before halftime snack and an after halftime snack. You can't go wrong with both.
Yeah. I was going to go the first set of games and the second set of games, but I kind of like the halftime and the rest of it. But I mean, honestly, if I had to choose one of those, I'm going to go with the nachos. I love me some nachos and cheese.
Yeah, we're having nachos for one of our many food items on the menu today. But who doesn't love some good wings too? Mark, you get an A+. You get a golden star for the best question of the day so far. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, while we're already on the food topic, what is your menu looking like today? Ours is pretty cut and dry, but it's one of my favorites for when it comes down to football. We're going chili and cornbread today to be snacking on most of the day. It's one of my favorite fall meals, and we're finally firing it up this week. So I'll be snacking on that.
Let's be honest, Brant. Your favorite fall meal is anything you can put in your mouth. But my wife probably got a hand cramp right in our menu for today. We got pizza, we got meatballs, we got teeny weenies, we got buffalo chicken dip, and nachos all on the menu for today. So I intend to gain several pounds today.
There you go. Sounds like a good day spread there.
Absolutely.
Oh, Big Mike coming in with them fighting words for us. Who wins in a fight, a Falcon or a Seahawk? Well, we've already seen it this year. Unfortunately, the Falcon beat the Seahawk this year, Big Mike. So I think I have to lean on the Falcon there. I'll give him props. He won this year, so.
Absolutely. It's no longer a debate this year. Next year, it's back on the chopping block, but this year it's definitely a Falcon. I think prior to the start of the season, it would have been who wins in a fight to get the first overall pick in the NFL draft. But both of these teams are shocking everyone week in and week out, it seems. So Geno Smith for MVP, maybe that's a notch for the Seahawks, but let's
just worry about getting him a vote, something Russell can do in Seattle. Let's get him an MVP vote, please.
Jennifer says shrimp gumbo.
Yes,
that's very interesting. I like that as well. My wife would probably love to have your address. She's more of a shrimp fan than I am, but
I am definitely a shrimp fan. So yes, please on that one there. I could throw that another bowl on the side.
It's taken 5 weeks, Brant, but people are figuring out a way to our heart here. It's 5 weeks in and we're getting it figured out here. We want these guys to get talking and we want them to be passionate. We just got to talk about food and it's game over.
Eyes will light up, heart will start to race, our tummies will start to growl, and we'll be full forced in on it.
Yeah. Is it too early to cut this live off so I can go start eating? Or
like I said, that's why I was running a little behind this morning. Had to finish breakfast. FatBoyz got to eat.
I do want to go ahead and just put this out there that Mr. Aaron Rodgers has already completed 2 touchdown passes in that morning game here. We've got Alan Lazard with a touchdown reception and Mercedes Lewis with a touchdown reception. We also have Saquon Barkley already at 55 yards rushing on 6 attempts. So definitely some fantasy stuff getting put up there in that early morning slate for those of you who aren't necessarily paying attention to your TV just yet.
Yeah. Barkley just ripped off a nice 41-yard rush to add to those stats. So Barkley looks good against that rush defense in this game. Jennifer saying it, Green Bay is kicking butt right now. but yeah, this game.
Yeah, let's not upset the producer here. Let's not set
That's right.
off
Bring it back.
our producer.
Good luck,
New
New York. Battle back
Giants
in.
fan. Cliff said, "Should I give up on Kamara and just expect him to get me under 10 points per game? Is he washed up or just not being utilized properly? And what are the chances they trade him?" Cliff, I'm going to say don't panic necessarily on Kamara just yet. He was dealing with that rib cartilage issue, and I expect actually him to have his best game of the season to this point this week with Andy Dalton at quarterback. Jameis Winston's not real prone to dump off passes to his running back there, and I think you'll see plenty of that from Andy Dalton this week. Brant, again, not to kick you while you're down, but I do think Kamara has a good week this week against the Seahawks defense as well.
Oh, you're not kicking me while I'm down. I've said it for the last 2 years. We're fourth in giving up fantasy points to the running backs. We allow PPR backs to go nuts on us. Kamara did it last year. I believe he had 2 touchdowns against us last year, along with over 100 yards of rushing and receiving. So, yeah, I definitely see Kamara bouncing back this week.
And as far as the trading him thing, I'm not sure there's much of a chance that anybody trades for Alvin Kamara. There is that looming suspension still, out there. And while that's kind of a murky cloud, I'm not sure any NFL teams are going to be jumping at the bit to go trade for that guy. So I think he stays firmly planted in New Orleans. But for the rest of this season, I don't think you have much worry about what Kamara is going to do.
Yeah. Oh, Jesse Baker coming in with Christian Kirk and St. Brown, 2 of my favorite players coming into this year that I was targeting later in draft. Let's see. The Jags have the Texans, and Brown has. I know I've already looked at this a few times. So if Brown plays, I still think you have to start St. Brown. He's got the more explosive upside, and with Christian Kirk, Zay Jones is coming on very well. So I actually think there's a lot more competing for targets there in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence has done a decent job of spreading the ball out. If St. Brown plays, you have to start St. Brown almost.
Yeah, if Brown plays, I'm still starting Christian Kirk this week, just due to the fact that Brown's coming back from injury. How often is he going to be on the field if he does play? Where I know Christian Kirk's going to be on the field frequently, and is like I mentioned earlier, the 1A in that pass catching world there in Jacksonville. And Trevor Lawrence has looked absolutely the part of the number 1 overall pick this year. So for me, I go Christian Kirk this week. I know that doesn't really help because when we're both split on this, but I think if St. Brown wasn't coming off of an injury, he'd be the answer for me as well. I just don't know if I trust him this week when I have the option of Christian Kirk. Both of these guys have been top 10 in PPR so far this year. So I think just due to the fact that St. Brown's a little nicked up, I'm going with Kirk.
Okay. Hector goes, Carr, Bridgewater this week. We get a bonus for 300 plus yards passing. Give me Carr. I've already said it. I think this game is going to be aired out, and I definitely could see Carr going over 300 yards this week and getting you that bonus. So give me Carr.
Yeah, I'm going Carr as well. I think there's more of a chance that Carr has to throw for 300 yards than there is for Bridgewater. I think Miami probably utilizes the pass pretty frequently early to get up on the Jets. But I think that Carr's going to have to throw throughout the game to keep up with Kansas City, and especially if they get down early to Kansas City. So I think Carr gives you your better chance for your bonus there. Paul says, is it time for Carolina to switch quarterbacks because Mayfield is killing DJ Moore's season? If they don't, what to do with Moore for the rest of the season? Possible trade package. I think they're fairly committed to Baker Mayfield in Carolina. Obviously Darnold looked really good for the first 3 weeks last year and then kind of faltered off. But I think the fact that they went and traded for Baker, who hasn't been anything, super special. Granted, he's been a fairly efficient in his time in Cleveland. But I think that goes to show that they really don't have a whole lot of faith in Sam Darnold in Carolina. I think they probably commit to Baker Mayfield until something drastic happens. And DJ Moore's volume is still there. I'm pretty sure I'd have to go look it back up, but I looked prior to last week, and he was still the target share leader there in Carolina. So I think you're probably still trying to start DJ Moore and seeing if it happens at some point, and I do think it will. But yeah, if somebody else wants to overpay you and give you what DJ Moore's name value is, I don't hesitate to trade him probably at this point either.
Yeah, you're not going to get where you drafted DJ Moore. You're definitely not going to get that in return. His target share is there. He's seen 6 targets in every game except for last week where he saw 11 against Arizona. This week is another one that's going to be rough against a rough secondary in San Francisco. San Francisco's defense has been very, very good. But yeah, you're not going to get what you want out of DJ Moore. He's kind of a guy that if you can keep him stashed on your bench for bye weeks, great. But if you have to start him, you just have to start him with confidence and hope that volume catches up with him.
Absolutely. Jennifer says, Brandon Cook or Curtis Samuel? Brandon Cooks is one of our favorite guy on this show. Maybe it's just because we love Cooks. I don't know. Maybe it's a fat boy thing. I'm not sure. But the volume tends to be there for Brandon Cooks every single week. Definitely the biggest name guy on that Houston Texans offense, even still over Damian Pierce at this point, for me anyway. I know Curtis Samuel has probably been a bit better than Brandon Cook at this point, but I think that starts to even back out. And as the season unfolds the rest of the way, I think Brandon Cooks finishes above Curtis Samuel. So I'm going Brandon Cooks in this one. I like that Houston Texans in Jacksonville game. I think that could be a really fun game to watch. I think both sides of the ball could put up points this week, but I go Brandon Cooks over Curtis Samuel in that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean Cooks also. Like you said, he's one of our favorite guys here. He's gonna get the targets there. He's the best receiver that they do have. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with Brandon Cooks.
Jennifer has a follow-up question with Vikings or Jaguars defense. Listen, if there's probably not a whole lot of opportunity for the Vikings to get any interceptions this week, with Justin Fields probably going to throw the ball 6-7 times maybe, especially now that Montgomery's back and Herbert's playing. I think they'll probably run the ball about 45 times. But I just think that I like the Vikings defense this week over the Jags, just because I think that the Bears will put less points on the board and less yards of offense.
Yeah, I expect that to be a low scoring game there in Chicago. So yeah, or in Minnesota. So yeah, give me the Vikings defense. Hi Punk, that would be me. Kyler Murray or Geno Smith. Kyler Murray, his rushing upside's there. So I'm going to lean Kyler Murray there. The rushing upside's always going to be there for Kyler Murray.
Both of these quarterbacks have a pretty tough matchup this week. You guys have New Orleans defense, which are no slouches, and then Arizona has Philly's defense. I'm not sure Kyler Murray's going to be able to see over the defensive lineman there in Philadelphia. So I actually think oddly enough, I'm going to say Geno Smith this week. Geno's looked every bit the part of a fantasy relevant quarterback. And I expect you guys to put points on the board. I think Arizona does too. But Philly's defense has just looked, night and day great this year. And I haven't been overly impressed with the Saints to this point. So I think I go Geno Smith actually.
So I'm gonna take a little stab at you here, but is that a short joke? Because that's my sister who's not neither one of us has very much height there.
I wasn't going to tell everybody that you're sitting on 2 pillows to be in the camera screen. If you want them to know that, that's on you.
Let's see. Half point PPR, 2 points per.
2 points per carry, I assume.
Carry. Okay.
If it's 2 point per carry, it's Penny for me.
Yeah,
I expect Penny to have several more carries than ETN. Obviously, James Robinson's going to be the guy getting most of the carries in Jacksonville, where I think Rashad Penny's still got several weeks of being that guy in Seattle before ultimately Kenneth Walker takes over.
Yeah, he also has Rashad White, but I still lead Penny if those are points per carry. That's just something we don't see very often. So that's a good fun scoring league there, adding points per carry. But yeah, I'm gonna lead Penny. I'm gonna lead Penny. He should still see 15 to 20 carries tonight, even though they do play the Saints. They may not be very productive, but it would not surprise me to see Penny find the end zone today. But yeah, so I'm gonna lean Penny on that one.
Lewis says Gallup or Tyler Algier. PPR, I have Patterson and Keenan Allen out.
I'm going Michael Gallup.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I like Gallup. I like Gallup coming in, filling into that number 2 role there in that Dallas offense. So yeah, I really lean Gallup this week.
Yeah, I think I'm going Tyler Algier. I mean, the Falcons have shown that they want to run the ball. That's it's odd. It's been forever and a day since I've been able to say that the Falcons' offensive line has looked good, but they absolutely have looked good this year. No Cordero Patterson. That means that it's going to be Tyler Algier's backfield. There'll be some Caleb Huntley sprinkled in, probably some Avery Williams as well, and potentially maybe some end rounds for some wide receivers this week. But I definitely think Tyler Algier against the Tampa Bay defense, I like a little bit better than I do Michael Gallup against the Rams.
Let's see. Katie asked St. Brown or George Pickens in a PPR league.
If St. Brown plays, it's St. Brown for me on this one. Again, we don't know what we're getting for sure out of Kenny Pickett. Last week, it obviously was, George Pickens' show with Kenny Pickett, but I think St. Brown, if he plays over Kenny Pickett, just because I don't know who's going to be I like St. Brown over Pickens because I don't know who Pickett's favorite target's going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I got to lean that way too if St. Brown plays, absolutely.
We do have a Cody Bellinger touchdown in the New York Giants versus Green Bay Packers game. So all of you that were brave enough to start Bellinger, congratulations.
Yep. All right.
Brian Kelly's. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Brian Kelly asked 15-man league. PPR defense, special team games, a decent amount of points in our league. I currently have the Rams and Packers rotating best matchups. Colts were dropped this week, long-term rest of the season. Would you keep the Packers and drop the Rams to pick up the Colts? So the Colts only scored that many points this week against Denver. It was a low-scoring, boring, not much production game. I know that the Colts have been decent, I believe. I don't think they've been anything to write home about. They've been the number 16 defense in our league. Obviously, you keep the Rams. Their defense is just always going to be there. They're going to see Seattle twice still. The Rams defense is set up to be one of the best defenses of the league. I think you just keep the Packers and the Rams.
Yeah, in a 15-man league, I think having two of the top 10 defenses, in my opinion, on the season, and the Packers and the Rams is a great problem to have. Before the start of the season, the Colts were one of my favorite defenses heading into this year. The last couple of years, they've been top 10 in fantasy defenses, but they just don't look the part right now. But the Rams haven't looked good either necessarily. I mean, they've had some turnovers, but they're really not stopping or slowing anybody down. I mean, Deebo Samuel and the 49ers had their way with them last week. So I think if you were going to drop anybody for the Colts, it would be the Rams, but I'm not sure I'd advocate for that at this point. Amy says, Algier or Najee, Deontay Johnson, Pickens, or Wilson. I think I'd probably still lean Najee over Algier at this point. Just because it was Cordero Patterson, and I haven't seen a full game load of Algier as being the guy in Atlanta. But Najee, I know what Najee is when Najee plays. So I think I'd go Najee. Like I said earlier, I think Najee's ceiling goes up a little bit, or floor goes up a little bit this week. I think you're going to start seeing him, on low ends be around 12 points because he is going to start catching some passes with Kenny Pickett. as far as the Deontay Johnson and Pickens thing, I really have a hard time wanting to play either of those guys just because I don't know who Kenny Pickett's going to target. I think Deontay Johnson still ends up being a one the rest of the season in Pittsburgh, but I think this is the last year for that. George Pickens is electric, and I think eventually he takes over. I just don't know if it'll happen by the end of this season.
Yeah, I'm on the same page there. Najee over Algier, and I think I take Johnson to start this week and really see where that offense falls with their pass catchers.
Absolutely.
1 point PPR, Hector. 1 point PPR, 0.25 points per carry, 5 point bonus for 100 plus yards. Need to fill a flex spot. ETN, Moore, Gallup, Algier. So I'm hoping that 100 yards is both pass catching and receiving. Receiving and rushing. I almost lean Gallup in this game. I really like what the fact that Ramsey will be on CD Lamb, and I assume he will shadow. I know he hasn't done much shadowing this year, but I'm going to assume that he's going to shadow CD Lamb as he is the best pass catcher on that team and has been electric all year. So I'm actually leaning Gallup. I could definitely see this being a Gallup game of well over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. So, yeah, I'm going to lean Gallup out of all those.
Yeah, I think I'm still going Algier here with the bonuses for carries. Every 4 carries, you're getting a point out of the running backs there. And between Etienne and Algier, I think Algier is going to have probably double of what Etienne sees as far as carries. And so I think I go Algier just because of that, and I think he's going to have probably 15 plus carries. I bet he gets 5 targets as well this week. So I look for Algier to have a pretty fantasy relevant week this week. Gallup's been one of my favorite guys to stash and hold this year. Cooper Rush, man, I know he's looked super efficient and stuff, but it's not Dak Prescott. They're not a high powered passing offense like they have been in the past. So I go Algier here.
Okay. Yeah. So while we got a little bit of time between these comments, what noon game are you looking forward to? Minding keeping our games out. What's one of the real games that stick out?
For me, it's the 2 games featuring the rookie quarterbacks getting their first starts. Obviously, anytime you see a rookie quarterback getting their first start, it becomes interesting to see who those pass catchers, which ones are going to be their favorites. Now, obviously, the one in Pittsburgh means more because Kenny Pickett's going to be the starter probably for the rest of the season, unless he just absolutely tanks it and Mitch Trubisky has to come back in. But Mac Jones is going to take back over when he's healthy. I always root for watching those rookie quarterbacks, and obviously I want to see my own rookie quarterback play at some point this season in Desmond Ridder. But definitely going to keep my eye on the New England and Detroit game and the Pittsburgh and Buffalo game, just because I want to see what those 2 are all about.
Yeah. One of the games that stick out to me is the Dolphins and Jets. I really wish Tua was in, because these are both teams that have built their teams to start competing. And we've seen Miami is very well competing, and unfortunately they lost to so I'm actually anxious to see what these 2 teams actually look like when they play each other in a divisional game. And, like I said, these 2 teams have started being built to actually be contenders in their division. Unfortunately, in their division, they have the Buffalo Bills. So any other division, I think they would be competitive in, but against the Bills, I just don't know. I know we saw Miami pull away from or beat Buffalo a couple weeks ago, but I think that was a fluke letdown game for Buffalo. So I'm excited to watch the Dolphins and Jets. I'm excited to see those 2 offenses get a chance to really shine.
It did just come out, Brant, that Julio Jones is not playing today against the Falcons for Tampa Bay. However, Russell Gage will play, so the Bucs will have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Russell Gage to play today. So that'll definitely be interesting. Obviously, Julio just didn't want to come in and torch his former team. He probably just said, just tag me out this week. I don't want to embarrass the Falcons.
So take me out, coach.
Tom Brady's going to have the healthiest pass catchers that he's had, this season, with Evans and Godwin playing for sure. That makes a huge difference. So maybe we finally see Tampa Bay get back on track offensively. I hope not, but it's definitely all the signs and makings are there. So definitely something to keep your eye on.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this Sunday night game a little bit while we got a second, because I know you and I are kind of torn on this. I'm leaning Baltimore, you're leaning Cincinnati, but there's a ton of fantasy implications in that Sunday night game. You got your T. Higgins, your Tyler Boyd, your Joe Mixon, your Jamar Chase, your Joe Burrow, Hayden Hurst. Even some people are playing at tight end, and on the other side of the ball, you've got J.K. Dobbins, Lamar Jackson, Devin Duvernay, and Mark Andrews. What do you think of that game? Is that the best Sunday night game we've seen so far this season, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's definitely going to have to be up there. I know last week's Sunday night game with the Chiefs and Tampa Bay was electric and fun to watch. I know the Chiefs jumped out early, but yeah, this Cincinnati-Baltimore game is going to be so much fun to watch. And it's always good to see a game like this come down to either Sunday or Monday. You got your fantasy, game on the line with all these names. And there's so many names between both teams that it's odds are somebody in your league owns somebody and is starting somebody off that team, unless they really stacked one of those teams. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun game. I expect high scoring. I know Baltimore's secondary's been a little banged up, so I could see Chase and Higgins both going off. Higgins, let it known that Higgins has had some great games. He actually averages over 100 yards receiving against the Baltimore defense in his short career.
Yeah, so let's just real quick, I want to talk about the game that's currently on. It's 20-10 Green Bay at half. They're in London. Just real quick, go over some stats. Daniel Jones is 8 for 13 for 81 yards. Saquon Barkley, 7 carries, 55 yards. Darius Slayton, blast from the past there. 4 targets, is the leading target guy in New York, with 3 receptions for 46 yards. Saquon Barkley has had 4 targets, 1 reception. On the Green Bay side of things, you've got Aaron Rodgers completing 18 passes for 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. In the backfield, Aaron Jones has had 7 carries, 35 yards. A.J. Dillon, 4 carries, 31 yards. Randall Cobb, 8 targets, 5 receptions, 76 yards. Romeo Doubs, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 21 yards. So definitely some fantasy relevancy coming in that London game this week. I don't think anybody's super disappointed on who they've started probably in that game.
I am a little bit. I had to start Richie James in our deep league. We have our deep dynasty league against you
in the Fantasy Holics League.
Yeah, in the Fantasy Holics League, and 2 reception for 16 yards. I guess that's okay, since he was kind of a plug-in. I had to last minute. I kind of wish this game wasn't in London, because I would have probably rather started Russell Gage, but I didn't know what that receiving core was going to shake out to.
Absolutely. So the Sunday mornings where we have football, at 8:30 all the way through 10 o'clock ish. Mm-hmm. These are days that it's just a great day to be a football fan in general. You just plop down on the couch, become one with your couch all day long, and just again, it's the food, it's the football, it's from sun up to sundown. It's just it should be a holiday, Brant. It almost brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah. Always is a good day. It's always a reason to crack a cold one a little earlier than normal. Enjoy your whole Sunday off. And forget about your past week and just rejuvenate yourself. And what better way than to watch football from sun up to sundown? Andrew asks, who ends up with the most fantasy points today, full PPR? Okay, I like this one. Give us a chance to throw out a little hot take on what we're thinking. Who thinks?
No.
There's the follow-up.
It's not a hot take. Nobody cares.
Never mind. Yeah, I see
Damian
that.
Harris or Ramondre Stevenson. For me, my gut says it's Ramondre, just because he's looked better of the two the last 2 weeks. But again, it would not shock me for it to be Damian Harris. So if you're going to make me put my money where my mouth is, I'm going to say Ramondre. But it definitely wouldn't surprise me to see this go either way.
Yeah, I'm leaning Ramondre Stevenson. He's led the backfield in snaps in every week except for week 1. So he'll be on the field more. And once again, going against that Detroit defense, I see him breaking off a lot of big runs and probably finding the end zone. So I'm going to lean Stevenson this week. All right. Hector asked 1 point PPR to fill my flex spot. Davis, Olave, Devonta Smith, and Josh Palmer. Oh, let's see.
It's Chris Olave for me. I mean, again, Grant, not to torture your team here, but there's a lot of youth in that secondary in Seattle. Chris Olave has been the guy in New Orleans. I do think Kamara coming back will slow down Chris Olave a little bit, but not enough to where I think it's particularly close between these 4.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to lean that way too. I always try to unfortunately, like you said, I always seem to pick on the Seattle secondary too. Whenever I have a player matching up against them. So yeah, I'm going to go with Olave. A lot of the guys that Olave is going to see today, he saw just last year in college. So he already knows their ins and outs pretty much.
Looks like we have one last question here from Dre Nitty. It says both Harris and Stevenson. I think I probably, unless I'm in a spot where I absolutely have to start both, I probably don't want to. I know it's hard to start one or the other when you own a backfield like this, but if you start both, it really brings down your ceiling because I don't expect both of these guys to explode. So I think here for Brant and myself, we're both more on the Stevenson side of this than we are the Harris side. So unless you're in a spot where you just absolutely have to start both, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just start Stevenson.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat there. Start Ramondre.
Guys, that pretty much wraps it up for us this week. There is the start sit post getting ready to come up if it hasn't already on the Fantasy Holics page. Get over there and drop your start sits the rest of the day on that. There'll be several of us jumping in and answering that, including Brant and myself in and out throughout the course of the day. So, make sure if you have a question that you want answered, throw it up on there. The response time is very quick. So join us again next week. We'll be live again, same time, same place next week. And as always, stay hungry.
And stay fat, my